from philosophy, from art, literature, and from the prophets about suffering. Clues. What are clues? Well, they're just that. They're clues. They're not the whole picture. We've already mentioned that earlier. A clue is just partial insight. It can just yield partial insight, not full insight. I'll never learn all there is to learn about wisdom if I just look at artists, or films, or music, or opera, or philosophy, or psychology. But they do give us clues that help us to make more sense out of suffering. We've already mentioned that Socrates is a model of intellectual humility. And I really believe that there are two kinds of people. There are the wise who know they're fools, and there are the fools who think they are wise. Well, I don't know which category you belong in, but figure it out. Know thyself.
I know which one we're supposed to belong to.
Philosophy is abstract, but truth is real. Philosophy is abstract, but truth is real. Philosophy, it pertains to concepts, and the most we can get from philosophy is some indications, some sign points in the direction of truth. So it is the wise philosopher who knows that what he's exploring, whatever he comes up with in his final analysis, is not true, right? He's just a signpost. He's just looking, trying to figure out what is true, what is real. But the best philosophers realize that this is not truth. It's just partial insight. They don't have a monopoly on truth, as it were. And Peter Kreeft, in his book, Making Sense Out of Suffering, draws what I think is a wonderful corollary. He says that wisdom in the realm of the mind, wisdom in the realm of the mind is parallel to sanctity in the realm of the heart. I thought that was quite beautiful. Wisdom in the realm of the mind is parallel to sanctity in the realm of the heart. And the wisest philosophers admit they are fools as the holiest saints see that they are sinners. The wisest philosopher admits that he's a fool, and the holiest of saints sees what a great sinner they are. And this is what this parallel is. I thought that was lovely. St. Bernard, when asked what were the four cardinal virtues, replied, humility, 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 and humility. Socrates left us something fascinating, the Socratic method. The way of learning through asking questions. So there's really nothing wrong with being a question maker, to have a query, to be curious, to ask questions is a sign of intelligence, that we're creating the image of an intelligent being. And it's very different from dogmatism, which is like intellectual pride, and skepticism, which is like intellectual despair. That was the concept. So don't worry about kids if they ask questions. Don't worry about your own questions so much. I mean, there is a way that we can ask questions to tempt, right? And to humiliate and to expose, and there's a wrong way that. But questions for the sake of knowing, for the sake of understanding, are to be invited by our children, and by anyone. Questions about God, questions about anything are to be welcomed. But note the difference between dogmatism, and beware of being dogmatic, because dogmatism opens the door to intellectual pride, and skepticism, well, we all know a few of those, that really is the mindset that there are no answers. So one knows all the answers, the dogmatist knows all the answers, there's nothing left to learn, and the skeptic, well, of course, he doesn't think any answers exist, so it's tantamount to intellectual despair. So I'd say the opposite of pride is honest, sincere questioning. And if you look at Job, the life of Job, and you say, what's this Socratic meaning of what went on in Job's experience with God, you have to say, Job really, in the final analysis, was saying, is all my suffering worth it? That's it in a nutshell. Is it worth it? Is all this suffering worth it? And so that becomes a valid question when we suffer. God, what are you doing in this suffering? Is it worth it? What does it mean? And if we suffer without meaning, if we suffer without learning, if we suffer for no good reason, that makes God a sadist, right? Mm-hmm. And if we love it, then we're the masochists. I mean, there's just something very wrong with that equation. But Job and Socrates are deep brothers under the skin, is my point. Unlike Job's religious counselors, his friends who thought they knew it all, had all the answers, Socrates and Job know intrinsically that they don't know. They know that they don't know. And Job is not ultimately so renowned in our faith for understanding. He's renowned for faith, for believing God even when he doesn't know, and for coming to the conclusion, hey, he's the creator and I'm the thing created. I'm the clay here. Let's get perspective. Let's get things in proper perspective. So the point of Job is that God knows the reasons and all the mysteries surrounding creation, the battles that happen in heaven, what was before the foundations of the world, what will be in future in history after Armageddon. God knows the end from the beginning. He's the Alpha and Omega. And Job somehow, he models, he says to us, I don't understand all these mysteries. I can't make total sense out of all these things. I can derive some meaning from my suffering. But he's content to leave God, God. And leave him master, and leave him the one to be in control. And so we can learn from Job and from Socrates that we may not, through our suffering, know all about the meaning of life, but we can learn some things that are meaningful about life. Job said, this is from Job 28, but where shall wisdom be found? And where is the place of understanding? Man does not know the way to it, and it is not found in the land of the living. God understands the way to it. We're talking about wisdom here. And he knows its place. Behold the fear of the Lord, the reverence, the awe of the Lord. That is wisdom. That is wisdom. And to depart from evil is understanding. So we can never separate wisdom and the intellect from the volition of the heart. Job tells us, behold, I'll repeat it, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom. And to depart from evil is understanding. So it has a moral, well, let's put it this way in this proper word. It has an intellectual and a volitional aspect to it, doesn't it? To be complete wisdom. Let's just look for a few moments. And you can see here a philosophy. I could have talked about 20 different philosophers. We're only taking 3 of the ancients who've laid the foundation. And we all know Plato in his 30, someone help me. My memory is so bad. I'll get to it later. But we know that in the last 2,400 years, Plato's probably asked all the most significant questions and explored them that all the philosophers since have attempted to ask. That's why we're just going to, and for time, we're just going to look at a few.